Here's a bit of universal advice that applies to everyone, no matter which country you're in. If you and your friends are thinking about exploring some creepy haunted abandoned places, just don't. It could save your life. This YouTuber went exploring these abandoned houses in Egypt and caught some scary stuff on camera that left him and his friends running for their lives. The group has a bad feeling and should have left early, but they keep exploring because no one wants the shame that comes with being the most scared. They're looking for a way into this house but never get the chance. They still can't believe what they are seeing, so they take one last final look. The figure is still there and they're still scared. When hiding in a field doesn't work, they decide to run deeper into the forest. Their plan works and they vow never to return to this area again, and for good reason. I don't know if there really was someone who they didn't know living in this place, or if it was just one of their friends. It's probably a skit though because of how slow the person chasing them walks. A TikTok user named Caesar in MP is piloting a plane when he sees an oddly terrifying unknown flying object skimming the clouds. Just below, the tiny circular object appears to have no propellers and emits no exhaust. It looks like it's moving extremely fast, but keep in mind Caesar is passing it in his own aircraft, so its exact speed is unknown. A regular civilian drone could not move at this rate of speed, and its design looks more complex than a regular drone. So what do you think? Secret project? Or something from someplace much farther away than Earth? Heather of Heather Hauntings is investigating a place known as the Shadow People Trail, a name that needs no further explanation. They go to the very end of the trail where the most paranormal activity is said to occur.
Ghost radar first, because that one's been working
pretty good. That one's been working really good.
Okay. Whoa, what the that?
Oh, it's loud.
What the Oh my god, this place is so creepy.
And it isn't long before they catch some creepy stuff on camera that leaves them scared.
So,
We're done.
people must that.
I don't know.
Terror?
Yeah, I'm creeped.
Good.
The scary noises coming from the woods stop for a while, and Heather's group wonders if the Shadow People have left. Watch the ghost radar screen when they ask the Shadow People where they went.
Where'd you go?
Yeah, you were all over and now you're just gone.
They leave a camera facing the direction of the noise and walk away. The camera starts to move on its own even though it is on a well-balanced tripod. Some shadows move in front of the camera at 14 minutes and 45 seconds, and then the camera falls over. They've caught enough paranormal evidence on camera to convince me that this forest is as haunted and scary as the legends say. This video was taken somewhere in South America, and it shows a man sitting on a table at a security monitoring station. Little does he know that he too is apparently being monitored, and not by a camera. After a while, this is what happens to him. Even the people reviewing the footage can't believe what they are seeing. Not only does a nearby chair move on its own, but it also moves in his general direction. It's almost as if the ghost is pulling up a seat directly across from him. Unbelievably, the man doesn't seem to notice this paranormal activity unfolding before him. At least at first. He is looking at his cell phone when suddenly it happens again. This time he sees it, and his reaction seems very legitimate as he becomes startled and tense. He looks behind him to make sure that the security camera is recording all of this for later evidence. Then he hops off the table and stares at the chair before him. Obviously scared now. He waits for it to move again, but it doesn't, so he goes over to inspect it more closely. This is probably the most convincing part of the video, because he would have seen a fishing line if it was a fake prank. Instead, he picks the chair up, puts it back in its place, and then puts a stand in front of it and gets out of there fast. I'm not saying that this video is absolutely 100% real, but it is certainly a possibility. A YouTuber named Yuya makes a video about microwavable desserts, but it accidentally turns into a creepy doll video instead. The doll is caught moving on camera at 7 minutes and 14 seconds.
Los amo con el alma entera.
The doll moves its arms by itself at the end of the video for no reason at all. It has nothing to do with the topic of the video, and everyone is pointing out how weird it was. I don't think she was doing this for views, because if so, then it would most likely happen in the very beginning. Besides that, with over 20 million subscribers, Yuya is already a successful YouTuber and wouldn't need to do something like this for attention anyway. It never happens again, and hasn't happened since as far as I know. But if any other creepy doll videos end up on her channel, which I have a feeling they will, then I will be sure to give them a full analysis. If you knowingly lived in a haunted house, would you stay? Donnie Drunkard did. Published to YouTube in December of 2020, this paranormal activity will run you out of Donnie Drunkard's home. Donnie writes, after trying to recover footage that I thought was lost, I found these clips from last year documenting the earliest days of paranormal and poltergeist activity manifesting in my haunted house. The footage first shows Donnie playing with his dog Terry, but later that night Donnie notes that the atmosphere changed and that they heard voices and sounds coming from upstairs. Terrifying clinking and clanking bursts through the darkness. Terry is growling as Donnie grabs for his Bible and starts to pray.
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
As Terry tries to escape under a table for comfort.
Terry, come here. Terry. Come on. Come on, Terry. You gotta go.
Donnie gathers him up to flee this mayhem for a time. As they head out for a drive, in the background, an overhead light is swinging back and forth. While they are away, a closet door near where the sound originated opens slowly. Nothing exits. YouTuber Brenda Luke writes, that hallway, it's not just darkness, it's advanced darkness. I'd be leaving that haunted house immediately. Are the Owen Nagot Caves the most haunted place on Earth? YouTube team Dark Arts TV is determined to find out in this chilling video. They arrive at the mysterious mouth of the cave. Do they dare enter? Perhaps they shouldn't have. While inside, they hear a mysterious whistle.
Oh my, did you just hear that? The whistle even.
Using a spirit box, they're delivered this creepy message.
Killed by her. Killed by her.
Frightened.
They then hear another whistle.
Did you just hear that?
Oh,
Did you just hear that?
They capture a recording that puts them on edge.
get out. Kill him.
No, I'm hearing get and then get out.
What?
Yeah.
It sounds like get out.
There's
Kill
the
him.
camera.
I hear what Carl heard on that one. They then discover these random trinkets shoved in a hidey hole.
Cursed items, are they?
We don't know, do we? It just seems a bit random to shove in there as well. Why is that there?
I wonder whether the offerings.
And they find these random markings on the wall, followed by a moan.
Whoa, 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 do you hear that?
Yeah, moving.
Yeah, the moan. We can hear you.
Using headphones and a version of the Estes method, Sarah gets really freaked out by what she hears. I think they should beware.
The first actual voice that came through. First I had scary, but it was weird. But that was the clearest gutter, it was like a man's voice going, beware. That was beware.
It's interesting because I'm pretty much taunting it now.
Each message they receive from the Beyonds gets creepier by the minute. Do you believe in the paranormal? Are you paranoid someone's watching? Then the Paranormal Paranoids are here to guide you. Introducing your guides, Peter, Laura, David, and Riley. These videos were posted by the Twitter account Just the Paranoid. The first video is set in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. The crew enters a wooded area, and Riley explains why they're here. She says that to the locals, these woods are a setting for a sinister story.
To most people, this forest is the same as any, but to the people of Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, who remember what occurred in 1994, these woods hold a sinister story.
In 1994, a young married couple crossed paths with a lifeless body along the path. Mary Talbert had sadly taken her own life. Being that she did so on a very public path, the takeaway is that Mary wanted to be found. The group paused near the tree where it happened.
This is where it happened. It was almost as if she wanted to be found, wanted to be seen.
They pose for pictures and leave. While watching the footage back, they discovered a few things they hadn't noticed in person. Upon first entering the woods, a disembodied face appears in the trees.
I don't think it's there, Peter. Yeah.
Later, as they are leaving, the camera catches someone standing behind a tree, perhaps watching them, but the creepiest image comes as they're posing for pictures near Mary's tree. Lurking in the distance is a figure that looks as though it's wearing a cloak with something draped over its face.
Over here.
Okay.
All right, what are we doing? Smile? Yeah. Okay.
Are you paranoid yet? If not, take a journey through Dark County Correctional Facility with the Paranormal Paranoid crew in their second video.
It all happened here, inside of these walls.
While they are wandering through, Peter is observing letters written on a window when they hear something in the next room.
God. What was that?
But they could find nothing there. They continue on, heading upstairs, where they discover a bunch of books open on a counter. They wander through the area where prisoners were kept in solitary confinement.
And the inmates that were brought here in the 1930s, they were maximum security.
Then up a narrow staircase, and back to more prison cells.
Did you do that?
Wait, did you do that?
I didn't touch anything.
Riley is leading the way when suddenly she stops and her face is full of fear.
What?
She said she suddenly felt cold, and you can literally see her breath on video.
How? You feel what?
Cold. Holy shit. Riley, what? What?
According to the crew, the camera cut out and didn't record anything for a couple minutes. When it returns, they cast a light down one hall, which shows just how far and deep this well goes.
Look at this.
How far back does that go?
I have no idea.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, sorry. So, get this.
And just how many prisoner stories it holds. One last tour by the Paranormal Paranoids see the crew at Lincoln Elementary, whose haunted halls have stories to tell.
So we made it. Lincoln Elementary. This school has an incredible haunted history, dating all the way back to 1976.
One morning in 1976, staff showed up to a filthy school. Although they called the janitor, there was no answer. Upon entering the janitor's closet to obtain cleaning supplies, they discovered the janitor passed away in horrific fashion. According to Riley, every bone in the janitor's body was broken, and his mop was shoved down his throat with just the strings hanging out. Ever since, the place has cycled through janitors, with no one staying long, as mysterious things kept happening. Rooms that had already been mysteriously cleaned, a solidly locked janitor's closet.
Is the legend true? David, what do you think?
I don't know.
They enter the school and for some reason head exactly where you wouldn't want to go, into the basement. That's when this happens. Though the bang terrifies them, they continue on, heading into what appears to be the boiler room. Something is clanging around. And then there's another big bang. As they panic, what they see next freaks them out even more. A quiet whistle alerts them to a figure with a white face and glowing eyes standing in a doorway.
Chill, chill.
He shuts the door as they take off in fear up the stairs. Are the paranormal paranoids onto something? Whether or not they attract the paranormal, their paranoia seems more than justified. While staying at a hotel room in Ireland, Roisin O'Brien grabs her dad to show him something bizarre. A ghost is moving a cup on its own, she tells him. Of course, nothing happens and she looks like a total liar until suddenly...
Found the washer.
That's freaky.
The cup moves all by itself to the edge of the glass shelf and then stops. There is no string around it that I can see, and besides, she is holding her phone and her dad is sitting on the bed clear across the room with his back turned, so no one was messing with it. She resets it, and as soon as she complains that it takes the ghost a long time, the cup moves instantly.
Like it's taken ages for it to go, you see.
So let's just say there was string tied around the cup. Her father is now standing to the right of her, so if it was him, then the cup should pull to the right in his direction. Instead it moves straight ahead and stops exactly on the edge of the shelf, same as before. The shelf is level and there is no moisture around the rim to make it slide like that. This is glass on glass, you can hear the friction.
Ages for it to go, you see.
She's right. The cup is moving on its own, maybe from a ghost. These strange lights have been flooding around in the desert for years with no reasonable explanation.
Now here we are in the morning, barely out on the Marfa city limits. And we're seeing them out there, so Pete and I we're having a great Marfa lights trip.
But floating is not all they can do. These lights are also known to change sizes, split apart, merge, and disappear at random. Sometimes they even seem to land on the ground and travel at high rates of speed, which makes some people suspect that they are UFOs. I personally have no idea what these lights could be, but maybe we can all figure it out together. Some people say that it's a natural phenomenon that's caused by a buildup of electricity. However, I don't see any obvious weather disturbances in any of these videos.
That gives me call too.
Look at that.
Oh my god.
Check it out.
Wow.
I got it.
If you saw this on the horizon, you may think some serious stuff is going down. Posted to the Very Spooky Video subreddit by RavenTexX, the Redditor writes, "Is this recent? Looks real." The footage shows a dark and stormy scene with heavy clouds on the horizon, and in their midst a blinding beam of light. The light brightens and recedes more, but stays in the sky for quite some time before zapping out, leaving the night in total and utter darkness. While life forms outside of this planet could very well exist, some Redditors have other explanations. Greg the Chief writes, "It could be a transformer. I worked as an electrician the past few years. I never saw something that size, but electric energy has more power than most people think. Since I'm not an electrician, I wouldn't know for sure, but that sounds like a pretty rational explanation." This family is getting no sleep. TikToker Paranormal Replay shares this scary video whose original source is YouTuber Ama Media Channel. A mother and her children are sleeping on the floor when this happens. The lady moves the toy as though she's used to these types of strange occurrences, but not long after, it starts to move again. And then an object is flung from the sink. That one finally scares her awake, but as she's just settling back in, she hears this. What sounds like a hairdryer wakes her up again, but the next disturbance wakes them all. Did you see it? At the end, peering around the corner. Is the ring girl behind it all? Whatever it is, I won't be going back to sleep tonight. While streaming live at a New Orleans graveyard at night on February 8th, 2020, Franco TV encounters not the undead, but the living. In the beginning, he describes his first encounter with a man in the graveyard, explaining that he'd been warned that thieves in New Orleans like to come after people who explore the city's graveyards at night. He said he'd encountered this man twice already in this episode, explaining that the man was on foot, had a book bag and approached him, passed him, and then circled around while he was outside of his car walking through the mausoleum. He feels a bit shaky from this encounter and says he doesn't know if he's going to exit his vehicle again, but he follows his audience's risky advice and does anyway. As Franco is out, walking around the creepy stone grave solo, he starts to feel unsafe again, and after a time returns to his car. He is examining an above-ground crypt from his vehicle when he hears some footsteps. He continues to drive around the cemetery, saying he heard something from behind his car that sounded like a knocking. He says he can't get out of his car again because he thinks someone else is there. In fact, there he is. After turning around, Franco zooms in on a man walking toward him down the cemetery road. What is this man doing in a graveyard at night? Is he too live streaming for YouTube? It certainly doesn't look like it. Franco doesn't know what to do but continue to drive, passing the guy seemingly without issue. He speeds up, getting out of the graveyard as quickly as possible. As he tries to find the exit, he says the man was literally chasing after his car. He says he felt the man hit the back of it, and as he flees, explains that he must get out of there and find a safe place. He then warns viewers not to enter a New Orleans graveyard at night, as if we needed any warning after watching this. When you play games with the devil, you're gonna get burned. YouTube team Taboo Paranormal are attempting to interact with a demon, and as they perform a blindfold ritual, the demon is revealed.
Я вообще ничего не вижу, и просто всем темно. Вообще что-то как-то очень неспокойно.
Watch closely while Nastia sits patiently waiting. Did you see it? A black mist moves past behind Nastia. No one is in the room with her, so I don't think that was a shadow being cast by something off screen. I believe that was pure evil behind Nastia, and I'm sure it was closer than she knows to attaching itself to her. This retro arcade room is ruined by faulty wiring, or else a real ghost. To demonstrate, the owner picks up the remote to his ceiling fan and turns the light off.
See. Nope, there it is. Wow.
The lights somehow turn on by themselves despite not touching the remote at all. At 4 seconds, we can see the nearest light switches all the way across the room from the distinctive shark skateboard that he's now standing by, so he couldn't have hit that himself, and no one else is with him. Then, not only does the fan turn on by itself, but it also kind of goes the wrong way for a little bit first, which I don't think is normal. In a different video, the light looks much brighter than before, yet returns to normal brightness when turned off and back on. This time he turns the light out and leaves the remote on the wall. He steps out towards the middle of the room, and the light comes back on before he even gets a chance to properly set up his camera. Based on what I've seen here, I think these videos are real, because nothing stood out as blatantly fake. If this house is haunted, let's just hope it's not a malevolent spirit. After all, you wouldn't want to give up an arcade setup that nice. This live broadcast captures what appears to be an impossible error on camera. Watch the news anchor on the left and see what happens. Here it is again in slow motion in case you missed it. Everything from a hologram to an alien has been proposed, but I guess it could be some kind of camera malfunction. Maybe someone who knows more about cameras can let me know if this is a technical malfunction or not. A YouTuber named Chris Lamb says that he was all alone when he shot this drone footage at Fort McClellan, Alabama, but the video says otherwise. You can clearly see that nobody is in the background at the beginning. But when Chris steadies the camera just a moment later, you can see someone standing by the street lamp. There's not enough time for anyone to walk out from behind a building, but yet here they are. Also, did you see how they seem to suddenly disappear in plain sight? I don't see any editing cuts, so I have absolutely no idea how this dark silhouette managed to vanish like that. But look again and you can definitely see them dematerialize. There's nothing wide enough for them to hide behind. They're just gone. Let me know if you think Chris Lamb's video is paranormal, extraterrestrial, or otherwise. There's an older man who's looking out the window at Jacob Hessler and his friend, and it's freaking them out how he keeps leaving the spot and coming back to stare some more.
He's looking over, he's looking over, and now he walks away.
Some people suggest that the old man is simply looking at them because they were looking at him, and that they should just leave him alone. But this scenario still requires the old man to look out of his window in the middle of the night to notice they were there in the first place, which is odd. Maybe they were being loud or something, but the way they keep their voices low makes me think they were probably being quiet the whole time. So as it stands, this is a mysterious exchange without words and without explanation. Tyler Rowe works in a grocery store with a freezer that he and all of his coworkers are sure is haunted. First, it starts with these strange noises, almost like someone is trying to kick their way out. The kicking noises grow more intense until finally, at 9:02 a.m., this always happens without fail.
Here come.
This time, Tyler is determined to get to the bottom of it. He bravely marches in and documents that absolutely nobody is inside the freezer. Watch this part and let me know if you can see anyone, because I didn't.
Is there a light in here? And there's nothing in here. There's nothing, nobody, anything. It's just open.
I can't help but suspect that a past employee somehow got locked in the freezer one morning and did not make it. Now they are trapped in spirit, kicking the door much like they did in their final hours on Earth. If someone can give me a mechanical explanation of why the door would burst open by itself at 9 in the morning every day, I would believe otherwise. Vlad Reznov checks out an abandoned hospital in their scariest Russian paranormal exploration yet. After 14 minutes, they find an uncovered underground entrance.
Ну что, там есть что-то? Аккуратно, ты понимаешь, что мы здесь точно не одни в этом доме?
Ты не знаешь.
His assistant sees it first, a ghost with long black hair over its face, standing in the doorway. They escape underground and don't look back, but I did, and here's my thoughts. Overall, I don't think this video is real. The figure looks like a generic Hollywood ghost sighting. The way it's positioned perfectly center in the doorway with hair over its face is a classic pose from The Ring, and unlikely to be real. There's no set rules for what a real ghost sighting looks like, but with that said, I'm pretty sure this is not it.